Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today to Full-Time Hustle Podcast. Today we're talking about taking care of yourself as an entrepreneur. Josh and I look at different ways that we kind of escape the everyday of business life and what we do to take care of ourselves and take a mental break, and I hope you enjoy.
You're listening to the Full-Time Hustle Podcast, an audio resource about life and business. Geared towards the creative entrepreneur, Full-Time Hustle is all about sharing time-tested methods and tips about everything small business related. From sales and marketing, all the way to accounting and client interaction, Full-Time Hustle covers everything you want to know about how to get things done. Turn your side hustle into a full-time hustle. For more resources, visit us online at fulltimehustle.net. Today's episode is brought to you in part by 17 Hats. 17 Hats is the premier online-based small business management software that does everything from invoicing to books to even keeping track of your contracts. Do what you do best and let 17 Hats do the rest. To get 10% off your first subscription, visit 17hats.com/card/full-time hustle. That's 17hats.com/card/full-time hustle for a free 17-day trial and 10% off your first subscription. Or simply apply the coupon Full-Time Hustle in your account settings. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Hey Josh.
What's up?
Not too much. Today I want to talk about self-care for the entrepreneur.
And we should say hi to our guests.
Oh, hi.
It's easy. It's easy to forget. I mean, it's just the two of us sitting here, and it's easy to forget. There's actually quite a few people listening.
Put a picture up with everybody's faces on it.
It's a good idea. So, everybody, if you can just go ahead and mail us a picture, our address.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about self-care.
Yeah. Now, okay. So we're talking about.
Yes. Okay. Well,
unpack that a little bit. Are we talking about like personal hygiene?
Well, that is one thing as an entrepreneur. If you're working from home all the time, you do need to take showers. But no, that's not what we're going to talk about today. I'm mainly talking more about what to do when, to escape, to enjoy yourself, putting routines of self-care in your day, like taking care of yourself so that you don't burn out.
And this is really interesting because a lot of people, I feel like, don't like to talk about this, especially early on in the business, because what's the mantra?
You got to work all day.
All day. It's just constant.
And you kind of do have to work all day and all night when you first start out. But it's important to also take breaks and to take care of yourself so that you don't burn out.
It is. And I think it's important that a side hustle or a full-time hustle or whatever you want to call it, wherever you're at, doesn't push you into a side neglect or a full-time neglect of yourself.
Yes. Or your family.
And we've seen it happen. And I think it leads to burnout if you're not careful.
It does. And that's when, burnout for an entrepreneur is when you start to not feel inspired and you just don't care. Like for me, I mean, there's been times where I just don't care about editing another photo, and that's not cool. My clients deserve my best all the time, and I can't be my best if I don't take care of myself as well.
So now, when did you realize this is a really important thing?
I don't know, like 4 years into it. Yeah. I think you realized it about 4 minutes into it, which is why I thought this would be such a good topic for us to talk about, because we're wildly different on this. In fact, we just had a discussion about it today. I won't call it an argument, but a discussion.
Sure.
Because we just do self-care in such a different way. For me, I just need a few minutes a day, and then I'm on my way. And I don't want to get my nails done, and I don't want to do anything that takes a ton of time away from work. I just need a few minutes to clear my head and get back into it. Versus, I feel like maybe I'm over speaking here, but I feel like you like to have like a solid amount of time each day that.
It's true, and it's just the reason I laughed is because it's just funny because I claim to hate structure.
But you thrive on it.
But to a degree, I do. And I like that there's a constant in the day, because our day is full of things that aren't really that constant. And
so I'm the opposite on that. I thrive on a plan because I know the plan is going to be like thwarted.
Right.
And so when things go crazy, at least I have a plan and I can get back to it and things like that. And I think that's for me why I do self-care in just, a couple minutes. Like for me, my big thing is I like to ride our bike. My bike.
Well, it's right.
Like a bicycle, not a motorcycle or anything.
No, this is a cool thing. This is a cool story for us. Last year, it's our anniversary.
Yes,
And
we had just brought Zane home a few months earlier.
And we were going crazy.
Yeah, because we couldn't get a babysitter. Like we weren't at that point yet. So we adopted our son Zane. He was 3.5 years old, and he had a ton of medical issues. And I mean, even a skilled nurse, he had medical issues that were so different than the average kid.
And we're talking about a kid that, for all intents and purposes, like no one has seen a child like this.
Oh yeah, even our doctors, like we were teaching them like this is what this is and things, and he had like a bag on his neck that literally collected his saliva, and so at any rate, it was hard to get a sitter. It wasn't that people weren't willing, it's just that there was so much to be done. There were so many doctor appointments, and he just needed us to be around him all the time and not to have a sitter taking care of him. And so, let's see, we adopted in February, March, April. So 3 months, and I was at my limit. And that is when I looked at you and I was like, we're buying bikes for our anniversary. How about that? And we're going to buy a bike trailer, and we're going to put our children in the bike trailer, and then we're going to ride, and we won't be able to hear them talk.
I just want to say something for people who don't know Susan and I very well. So I am the spender between the two of us, and Susan is the frugal one. And so
very frugal.
I tend to see things and have instant ideas and instant adventures in my mind. And I'll see something, and I'm like, I want to buy this, or I want to get, like, we could be at Bed Bath and Beyond, and there's a Mr. Beer kit, and I'm like, I want to buy this beer kit. Maybe we can start our own brewery, and you're like, no.
I'm like, no, why don't you finish, painting this wall or something?
Right. Just anything, a house project or whatever. Okay. You never do that. Never. So when we're sitting, I think we were in the living room, and we were both editing, and you're just kind of like, we're buying bikes for our anniversary. I was like, okay. I mean, like that. There's just nothing, because you never come out with stuff like that.
No, but we needed it so bad.
We did, and I love the idea. I've wanted a bike for a while anyway. I love riding bikes.
And for the record, the idea didn't work in the way I thought it would. I thought we could put the kids in the bike trailer and not hear them talk. We can totally hear them talk.
Yep, and so do the neighbors. Every time we ride by, and they're like, hi.
Our kids like wave and say hello to every single creature in the neighborhood. But it
so
still gives us a chance to... I mean, the first time I rode the bike down the street, it was like the wind was going through my hair. I felt like I was in like a commercial, like mom's free.
I was picturing you driving down the road like, freedom.
Yeah, like it really was that.
Yeah.
And it was just such a monumental thing for me. And I know it was a little different. It wasn't taking time off of our business to do that. It was taking time off from parenting to do that.
Right.
But the principle is still the same. And even now, like as soon as it hits like above 65 degrees, I just can't wait to get out on the bikes. I guess 60. So I'm pretty cold natured.
You are pretty cold natured, but like, okay, so let's talk about your version of self-care really quick, because you'll be just editing, and this is like a small insight into the whole self-care thing with you, but you'll just be sitting down at the computer editing, doing your thing, and you're like, I've got to go for a bike ride real fast.
Well, I have to force myself to, because I don't naturally take breaks. I have a Fitbit, and I have it remind me every hour, 10 minutes before the hour, that I need to get up and move. If I have not walked 250 steps in that hour, and that's not a ton of steps. So like there's a lot of work days where, if I'm in my groove and I'm at the computer, I just won't get up for 4 or 5 hours. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the way I work. And so I've actually started making myself get up.
Is that true? I mean, you literally won't get up for 4 or 5 hours?
Yes.
So what about like bathroom breaks?
I just don't. I'm so in the zone. I just don't think of anything. I don't do anything. Yeah, it's usually not 4 or 5 hours, but 2 to 3 hours
I know
almost every single work day.
I know I'm acting surprised. We've been married for 12 years.
But we don't work next to each other a lot.
No, and so for me, self-care looks like something totally different. So I do CrossFit.
Every day.
Shameless plug for CrossFit Stimulus in Hampton. I go down there and it's amazing. I work out for about an hour, 5 minutes. I usually get there, 5 or 10 minutes early. I try to stretch. I try to get warm. And then at the 5 minutes after the workout, I'm usually laying on the ground asking myself, why do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
But then after that 5 minutes, everything is, my heart rate comes back down and I can breathe again and I'm good. I actually feel great the rest of the day. But I really look forward to that hour or so where I'm constantly moving because my body responds really well to movement. Like if I don't have some sort of strenuous activity, my body just feels lethargic. It's like my bones hurt, my muscles hurt, and I really look forward to that.
My body does not look forward to that.
I know.
I just take a nice, easy bike ride. Nothing hard.
And and this has been...
I think it's good to point out those differences, though, because there are times when I'm like, come on, Josh, like, you're taking this chunk out of your workday every single day, and I'm just working through it, and I'm working hard, and it's important.
And I feel like if I don't get it, then I'm just gonna, like, mentally I'm done, and I feel like crap, and like I've really had to put it in the routine, but it's been something for us that we've really had to work together on, and just sort of figure it out.
We do. What are some other things you do for self-care?
Well,
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
You did put me on the spot. It's okay.
I have some.
I have there's the physical, like taking care of your body and working out and eating healthy. And I think those things they're not always synonymous, but for me lately, they've had to go hand in hand.
I think cooking is one for you. And like just...
Yeah, I mean,
obviously
cook.
You have to cook to survive, but you really enjoy cooking.
I do. Yeah, you asked me to make
noodles.
Yes, you asked me to make noodles this week, and then like halfway, like you had just asked me, and then you're like, "No, actually, don't worry about it." Don't worry.
It was like 8:00 at night, and I was like, "I probably don't need to be eating noodles."
Well, it wasn't even just that, but you said you don't want to. I don't want to mess up
I didn't want
your
you
night.
to waste your time.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're not wasting my time. Like I love cooking. This is great. I'll do it.
So I'm a time management crazy person, and I just hate spending time on things like that.
Yeah, and I
which
think,
is just a personal thing.
So now, I just want to insert something really important here. Yeah, you are a time management crazy person in some ways on some things. As it relates to work, you're just like unstoppable. You're a monster on tasks. You are list driven. You have things you want to get done. Achievement means everything to you. And it's there and is what it is. But it doesn't work like that with everything. I mean, let's just go open the car. I know that's
clean
both
out
of us.
the car.
That's
I
both
clean
of
out
us.
the car.
You do, and you're really excited about bringing stuff in from the car. But I think if like
I would tread lightly, Valerie.
No.
Tread lightly.
Who's the tidier one?
I think it depends on the area.
Well,
like I don't care about making our bed. I do not care. I don't care at all.
So, yeah,
you want me to say that you're the tidy one?
It's not that I'm the tidy one. It's just that I'm a little bit more. So if we go to a hotel, let's just, and I know it's like a little bit of a rabbit trail for a second. If we go to a hotel and we check in, we go upstairs, what's the first thing I do? The very first thing that I do.
You waste like 30 minutes putting everything in drawers.
I unpack our suitcase and make sure everything has its place. Because if I can keep it clean, like if we can start with a clean slate, it can stay there.
But if we're only staying one night, we don't need to unpack the suitcase.
But if everything gets blown up, I totally lose it. And I lose my attitude. And I'm like, well. It's
on the flip side, this is a huge rabbit trail.
It's on the flip side, I think it's important. I mean, this is part of it.
I enjoy enjoying my vacation. And so I don't want to make sure that I keep everything clean the whole time. At the end of the week, I'm going to throw everything in the suitcase, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to throw it all in the laundry machine.
But it's such a mess.
Washing machine.
I just don't want the mess.
I mean,
it's
just
nice
close
to
the
have
suitcase.
your vacation space clean.
It is clean. Just
and
close
the
the
suitcase
suitcase
in the closet.
All right, so back to self-care.
But that is self-care. We're taking care of ourselves while we're on vacation.
So in light of my frugalness, there is one thing. I'm not big on buying apps on my phone, but over the years, there's different ones that I have bought to kind of let myself take a mental break. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on the phone, but my phone is always near my side. And so a lot of times, like at night, if I need to like wind down, I will fall asleep every time playing those games. I don't know why.
Which is funny because I'm the opposite. If I have like the screen on in my face, it keeps me up and engaged all night.
Nope, I fall asleep. That phone smacks me in the head, and then I put it on my desk, on my nightstand. I don't do that every night. But when I have a couple games, like I used to play Sudoku all the time, and there was like a little game like Connect the Dots, or what I think it was called Dots. It was so fun. Candy Crush back in the day.
Yep.
And then right now, my favorite, it's a card game called Splendor, and we played it on vacation.
This is on your phone?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. And so we played it on vacation with some of our friends. They introduced me to it, and I loved it so much, probably because I won the first round, and then I was hooked. And so now I play that a couple times a week on my phone. I love it so much. And it was an app. I forget how much I paid for it. It was like $5 or something. I thought it was a lot for an app, but I really, really, really enjoy it. And it's like an outlet for me to just kind of check out for a few minutes. And it's not social media, because social media is like a time warp where you lose all track of everything, and I don't feel good at the end of that. But if I'm just playing like Splendor or Sudoku or something like that, I don't know, it's like a puzzle. I really enjoy it, and it kind of
I go through phases
happy.
In and out of social media, to be honest with you, and it's a huge rabbit hole. Huge.
Yeah.
It's super easy to get distracted. And I could leave Facebook altogether if it weren't for wanting to stay connected to my family and then Facebook groups.
You're crazy about
Facebook groups. I think they're awesome.
You know what's funny is I think a lot of your self-care things drive me nuts. Do my self-care things drive you nuts?
No.
You always want me to spend more time on it. Like, you're the reason I get my hair done at a salon. I would just rather do it at home.
Yeah.
But you like almost pushed me out the door to go to a salon.
Well, it is what it is. I want you to, pamper yourself occasionally. And if you're going to get something like that done, I think it's important to get it done professionally.
Well, and the hairstyle I have now, like, I couldn't do it at home.
Sure.
My hairstylist is amazing.
So these are fun. We've talked about things that we do to kind of make sure we're taking care of ourselves and get a little bit of escape during the day or at night or whenever it is. But let's talk about the practical piece of this. What happens if that gets neglected? So so if this is your first time you're listening to this, we are photographers, videographers. So that means wedding season comes, or we're in the middle of summer, we're shooting a bunch of commercials or something. Things get crazy. What happens if I neglect CrossFit and just eat whatever I want, and you don't get time to go ride on the bike? You don't get time to just let your mind rest and just get away from what's going on. What happens?
It's different for both of us, because I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like my self-care items, that like I can do them in such a short amount of time. Like, I can take a bike ride for 5 minutes or an hour, but I can change it up. And so I often do get those self-care things throughout the busy season. If not, then I crash.
Yeah. For me, I feel like taking anything more than one day off from one of those activities, like CrossFit or cooking or whatever it is, it sort of puts me in a slump a little bit, because one day is fine. 2 days, I'm just like, it's just 2 days. I'll go back. And 2 days turns into 4 days, turns into 6 days. And before long, it's been a week since I've worked out. I'm eating ramen noodles out of a package. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I know this is unhealthy. I know it's bad. It's not making me better, but I just do it anyways. And it's because, that habit that's doing so many good things for you, and you just revert back to like, well, this is fine. This has worked. Yeah.
I don't want you to be mad at me.
No, go ahead.
I feel like that's why it's important to find shorter activities too that give you the same outlet.
Sure.
Because then in the midst of busy season, when you may not have, 2 hours in the middle of your day to go to CrossFit and drive there and do the workout and come back and take a shower and all that, you can still do something that gets your body moving or, that fuels your brain but you can still get all your work done.
That is true. I have no problem admitting to that, provided that you can admit that there is a great benefit and a huge amount of solace that's received in the middle of the day. Did I say that right? Is it solace?
Solace.
There we go. Solace. That you can get out of taking an extended, you're taking an hour out, you're doing something, you're getting your mind, you're resetting.
I think it depends on the person's personality.
Sure.
And just recognizing what your personality is. If you're like me and you just need the quick little break and you're back in the game, then taking time to make sure that you do spend extra time on yourself at times is important. Like right now we're kind of in the middle of the slower season and I'm forcing myself not to work all the time. On the flip side, I think for someone like you who likes to take the chunk out of the middle of the day, it kind of gives you a restart and fuels you. I think it's important to find shorter activities as well so that during those busy seasons, you can still maintain some sort of regular schedule in that, even if it's not as long.
Absolutely. And I just want to say these things that we're talking about, if you neglect to do them, they really can mean total burnout if you're not careful. You get in this season where you neglect those things for long enough, and it's cool to put all that time and energy and work into your business, but if you're not careful, things can really fall off.
I have one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not really a problem for you and me because we are extreme extroverts. Just regular extroverts.
Okay.
And we're working together at home.
Yep.
And there's literally extra people in our house every single day, friends and stuff. And so for a lot of people, when you're starting your business, it might just be you at home or, it's your side business. And so you're, it's at night, everybody else is asleep, or you just live by yourself and it gets very lonely. That is one of the biggest things that we hear from people is that they're so lonely because they're just home editing and they're photographers are editing or they're just at home. They're just doing their own thing and it gets super lonely. And I think it's very, very, very important to get out. Even if you just go walk around Target or something, call up a friend, anything to get you out and have a human interaction at least once every day, even if it's on the phone or something more than just a social media interaction, to keep that loneliness at bay.
Right.
Because you don't want to go down that hole. That's a hard one to overcome.
It's good advice. That's really, really good advice.
So we want to hear.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we want to hear from you guys. What are the things that you do for self-care? Are you more like me, who you just need a few minutes and you're back in the game, or are you more like Josh, where you want a good chunk in the middle of the day, or at night,
it could
or
be
whenever?
at night, it could be in the morning, wherever, but just that long hour.
Yes. So we want to hear from you guys. Know what you do.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we are going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. And in addition to hearing from you about what you like to do for self-care, we'd love to hear about what topics you might want to discuss or what questions you may want us to address about your business. And it does not have to be industry specific. There's a lot of stuff that Susan and I have gleaned from being in the photography and videography industry. And I think we have a natural sort of reach to creatives, but I don't care if you're in the creative industry, if it's white collar, blue collar, trade, doesn't matter. We want to know what your struggles are and what you would like to address on this show. So this has been awesome. We can't wait to jump into more topics. And
have a great week.
Full Time Hustle is a Fowler Studios production. It's produced and written by Josh and Susan Fowler with help from Joelle and Anklin. Our theme music is composed by Isaac Joel and can be licensed among many other songs at soundstripe.com.